Hey guys, let me make sure I'm muted over here. All right, there we go. So, and let me get over to the comments. Hi, Crystal and Alpha. How are you guys doing today? So, what I'm going to be doing here today is past life readings. Now, I have, hi Maria. What I'm doing is I've got some tarot cards that are ace through 10. So I'm going to be shuffling them, and whoever correctly picks the first one. Oh, hi. Hi, Courtney. All right. So whoever picks the correct number first, 1 through 10, will get that reading. So just to show you really quick, these are a little bit longer. So if you want a guaranteed, then you can donate. And the information where you can donate is down below. These are the different categories: lessons, what you died from, the location, trauma that you had in that life, the faith that you had, love that you had, the identity, and the time frame. Okay, so let's just get started. All right, let me start shuffling first. All right. So yeah, you guys can start picking numbers 1 through 10. Hi, TNG. All right. Hi, Chris. Oh, all right. Oops. And the first one I seen was, let's see. So keep the numbers coming. Hi, Summer. All right. Keep them coming. Nobody's gotten it yet. 1 through 10. So fast fingers. 1 through 10. Thank you, sweetheart. Nope, nobody's gotten it yet. All right, stop. You got it, Tangi. Number 10 it was. The 10 of Cups. All right. All right. So the first thing. Hi, sweetheart. So the first thing we're going to do is identity. Okay. So you're either going to want to get a pen and paper so that you can write this down for yourself. And also on my YouTube or my Facebook group, Amethyst Ascension Family. Sorry, I'm looking. I do have a sheet that I made for like further exploration of the past lives. Okay. So let's do the identity first. All right. All right. And I want you to keep something else in mind too, that this is just one past life. This does not mean that it was your last past life. Okay. All right. I think that we've had hundreds, if not thousands, of past lives. All right. And identity. You were a wife. Wife and technology and technological progress was what was up. So let's see what that says really quick. But you were definitely a wife. All right. In a past life, you may have been part of a society that experienced technological progress. Perhaps you played a role with that progress through helping to develop useful gadgets, machinery, weapons, vehicles, or utilities. Oh, you do. Awesome. Hi, Amy. Let me make sure. Hi, Ponus. All right. So we've got our first one. Wife in a civilization that was advanced. Okay. Now let's do the next one, which we will do. Let's do time frame, and then we'll do location. Okay. All right. So what was the time frame of this particular life? What's the time frame of this particular life? Okay. Ooh. Okay. Oh, you were orphaned, and this was on the childhood trauma card, and this was during the early Bronze Age. So let's see what it says for early Bronze Age. The early Bronze Age lasted from approximately 3300 to 2000 BC. Different civilizations entered the Bronze Age at different times. This age witnessed the end of the Stone Age. It also saw the construction of Stonehenge and the pyramids, the first dynasty of Egypt, the use of papyrus, and the Minoan, Sumer, ancient Greek, and Indus civilizations. Large-scale civilizations began arising under a centralized government. There was the rise of trade and the spread of ideas. This period also marks the time when humans began to work with metals, combining tin and copper to make bronze. All right, so thank you, Ponus. So also, let me see, where was that one at? Early Bronze Age, is that it? Yes. And we said that you were orphaned. I mean, interesting. Why would you be orphaned? All right, so let's look at the childhood trauma. Oh, and we've got notifications. All right. In a past life, you may have lost your parents due to an accident or other misfortune. Due to this, you may have been placed in an orphanage or with relatives. So interesting. Yes, there. Oh, thank you, Maria. That's the extended worksheet that she's talking about in the group. All right. So the next thing that we've got is location. All right. All right. Tell us the location for tangent. Oh. Ooh. Okay. All right. Look what came up. Volcano. And it came up that way. And the location is Southern Europe. Yup. All right. And Southern Europe. So let's see what it says for Southern Europe. I think it's like Italy, and which would make me think of like Pompeii, right? Oh, you may have lived in ancient Greece, Rome, or another area currently known as part of Southern Europe, such as current-day Greece, Italy, Cyprus, Spain, Portugal, or Turkey. Or you may have lived in a nearby area that is off coast or currently under the sea. Okay, so that automatically, and with it being a volcano, makes me think you might have been orphaned because of like Mount Vesuvius, you know, Pompeii. And she says, exactly. All right. I don't think I even need to go any further there. All right. So the next one. Why don't we do, how about the faith that you had? So kind of like your religion or your faith. Atlantis and Pompeii or some, okay, there we go. All right. What was the faith in that life? I always shuffle until one comes out because I always imagine that it is my higher self actually pulling it out of the deck and laying it out in front of me. All right. I love this deck. If anyone wants to know, it is called Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle by Mandy Peterson. Okay. Come on. All right, here we go. All right, so you were between gambling or speculation and miser under wealth. Okay, so because you came, this was up for me. And your faith was fanatical. You were a fanatical faith. Let's see what that means. Probably like some sort of extreme. Let's see. Your beliefs and practice may have tended towards the radical or extreme. You may have believed that there was one right way to believe in God or the divine, and you felt the need to devote yourself to this way entirely. Okay. And the fact that it was on the wealth card as well. Oops. Let's see what it says there. And you were between gambling or speculation, which is in a past life, you may have engaged in gambling or speculation. See surrounding cards for how this affected you or whether it became a problem. Or miser, in a past life, you may have had wealth, but it was hard for you to enjoy it. Perhaps you held on too tightly to what you had, afraid to lose it. Okay. All right. So the next one. Why don't we do the love that you had in that life? Okay. Love. Tell us about the love that Angie had in that life. Okay. All right. This is when, oh, it was under the rebel card, and you were a revolutionary. And the love, oh, was polygamous or polyamorous. So that probably had something to do with your religion, your faith. And revolutionary. Okay, so let's see. This was under love. You may have been in a polygamous relationship or had more than one husband or wife. Alternatively, you may have been polyamorous, meaning that you enjoyed a sexual relationship with more than one partner in a way that all parties gave their consent. Well, it said you were wife. Yeah. Fight the power. Can't fight. And a revolutionary under the rebel card. You were a rebel. I could never imagine that, Angie. Just saying. All right, you are a revolutionary. In a past life, you may have been a bold, passionate, and freedom-loving person who felt dissatisfied with society or constraints imposed. Perhaps you used your energy to inspire others to believe that that change could happen, or that they can gain freedom from oppressive circumstances. You may have been a revolutionary writer or part of an underground resistance movement. Ooh, interesting. All right. So the next one, why don't we do what lessons you learned in that life? Yes, freeing the multi-wives. Yes. Yes. All right. What lessons did Tangi learn in that life? All right. You got it. Oh. Okay. Mercenary defender. On the defender. Ooh, maybe you were really radical. And the lesson, self-expression. Okay, let's see what that says. Okay. Your lesson may have involved learning to express yourself, including your emotions, your thoughts, or any knowledge that you possess. You might have had to overcome others' attempts to suppress or intimidate you into keeping quiet. See, that makes perfect sense. Later in life, after having to be subjected to that life, you were the revolutionary and helped free. Yeah, I could so see you doing that. And mercenary on the defender card. Let's find the defender card. You were a mercenary. In a past life, you were a professional soldier who was paid to fight in battles or to defend territories which you may have been an outsider, such as if you were from another country. You didn't mind serving this role as long as you were adequately compensated. This calling gave you a sense of purpose and a means to support yourself. Almost seems like, I mean, I don't even know if this was possible, but like a secret society of women that were like assassins. What do you guys think about that? Seriously. The plot thickens. All right. And what do we have left? Trauma that you, okay. The trauma in that life. And after that, the way that you died. So, oh, and that came out really fast. The trauma was working class under city dweller. Imprisonment. Imprisonment. Ooh, my goodness. Yeah, you got imprisoned for it. Oh, where is it? Yeah, you may have suffered trauma in a past life due to being confined, incarcerated, held hostage, or enslaved. Oh, right. That was what you were breaking free from. It could have meant, yeah, I got notification pretty late. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Your next bonus, okay? Being confined, incarcerated, held hostage, or enslaved. You may have had your freedom limited or had no choice but to do the bidding of whoever held you captive. Exactly. No, I don't think they caught her. I think that was her lesson, was to break out of it. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And it said that you were a working class and a city dweller. Yeah. I don't even think, I mean, that's pretty, I think that's pretty obvious. You had like a part to play. And the last one, what did you die from? What did you die from? How did Tangi die in that life? Oh, and there we go. Lost at sea, water disaster. You were lost at sea, water disaster, and death was miscarried or died at birth. So maybe, oh, well, lost at sea. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Death. You could have been giving birth while you were out to sea. Who knows? All right. Let's see. You may have been aborted as a fetus or die. Well, obviously that was not the case, or die during your birth. If not, you may have had survived your first year of life due to, okay, I think you had died because of giving birth. And water disaster. Let's see what this one says. And this says lost at sea. In a past life, you may have been shipwrecked or lost at sea. That's what it says. So maybe a combination. Yes, exactly. There are at least 3 or 4 lives of mine. Oh, really? So I'm picking up on 3 or 4 lives? Interesting. So there you have it, sweetheart. All right, and Ponus, you are next. I hope that, although you already pretty much knew that, right? But I hope it helped. All right, Ponus. We're going to do your identity first in this life, okay? Oops. Ponus's identity. Here we go. Well, first of all, this is the card that came up, diet and gluttony. And your identity was an older man. Okay. So I'm guessing that you were a large old man. Let's see. Look at diet. Or just somebody that was like, maybe even well-to-do, because Pompeii, a war in England or Scotland, and a shipwreck after that. Thanks. That's amazing. Okay, well, let's just see what it says. In a previous life, you may have been overindulgent when it came to food or drink. Perhaps you were indulgent because this type of sustenance was too readily available, or you may have suffered from an addiction. So you either had some sort of addiction, but what I'm thinking is that you were well-to-do, that you had money, and so you were able to indulge, and you were an old man. So that's the first one. The second one we will do is time frame. What was this time frame? Okay. Wow. All right. All right. So this is what I got up, was human sacrifice under ritual sacrifice. And I got time frame of age of discovery. Okay. So first off, let's look at age of discovery for time frame. Okay. Time frame. So age of discovery. The age of discovery lasted from approximately 1400 to 1600. This period witnessed European overseas exploration, colonialism, missionary work, and commerce. In 1492, Columbus discovered the Americas, and much change occurred. European disease made their way to the Americas, which resulted in the deaths of indigenous populations. Indigenous people in Africa and the Americas were exploited or enslaved. Yeah. So, and then you were a human sacrifice. Under ritual sacrifice. Let's see. I wonder if in your old age. Ritual sacrifice. In a previous life, you may have been a human sacrifice or were part of a culture in which human sacrifice played an important role. All right, we'll have to dig a little bit deeper and see what this. Oh, okay. Interesting. So now let's do where, okay, the location. Oh. Okay, and that popped out right away. Western Europe was the location, and that was up. Imprisonment and imprisoner. Interesting. Okay, so first let's look and see what it says for Western Europe. What is considered Western Europe? You may have lived in an area currently known as part of Western Europe, such as England, Ireland, Scotland, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Morocco, or the Netherlands. Or you may have lived in a nearby area that is off coast or currently under the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and under the imprisonment card, you got imprisoner. In a past life, you may have helped to imprison another person. Perhaps you committed someone to a mental hospital, turned someone in for a crime, worked as a prison guard, or made a ruling as a judge or jury member that caused someone to be sent to jail. Or maybe you kidnapped someone, owned a slave, took someone hostage during a battle or war, or kept a person otherwise confined. Yeah. This is interesting. All right. So the next one that we want to do is, how about your faith? How about your faith? Okay. Celestial. And this was up. Celebrity or accomplishment. Yeah. See, I felt like you were somebody that had means. That's why you were able to indulge. Under accomplishment, celebrity. So let's look at that really quick. Under accomplishment. In a past life, you may have received some measure of fame, honor, or recognition. This type of attention likely brought with it particular challenges or responsibilities. Yeah. And celestial. Yeah. I have gotten this one. Maria has gotten this one. Yes. Faith, celestial. You may have had a faith that is extraterrestrial or unknown to humankind, or maybe it involved the worship of extraterrestrials or star beings. Yes. Starting to make a little bit more sense to me. All right. So the next one, let's do the love that you had in your life. Okay. Yeah, the time frame was the Age of Discovery, which was between 1400 and 1600. And it was Western Europe. And we are doing love. Oh, here we go. Oh. Possessive love of a model or art under the artist. Interesting. All right, so let's look at the possessive love first. Which, I mean, that could be another sign of like the gluttony or having access to an overindulgence, right? Possessive. In a past life, you may have been possessive or controlling with a partner or lover. It might have been hard for you to feel secure in a relationship or to believe that your love interest could be faithful. Interesting. And under the artist, you had model. You may have modeled for an artist in a past life or served as a muse. It's possible the relationship that you shared with an artist profoundly impacted your life. It may have even led to an affair or something permanent. But see, the way that I see that is I think that you were either possessive Oh, you probably were the artist and you were possessive over your model, the person that modeled for you, because you were some sort of celebrity, right? All right. The next one, how about the lessons? Well, we're going to draw numbers after this one, unless you donations skip the line. All right. Okay, so the lesson was becoming more natural. And yours, oh, was like in between a flood and drowning of water disaster. Interesting. Becoming more natural. Let's see what that means. Your lesson may have been to become more natural, simple in yourself, as opposed to what others expected. Yeah, because of having a celebrity and you were, a celebrity status or that responsibility that came with being of a higher, I think you had a certain station in life that other people expected of you. Or perhaps you became disconnected from the natural world, needing to find your way back. Okay. And like I said, it was between the flood and drowning on a water disaster. So let's just see. I mean, it's probably pretty cut and dry. Here we go. Flood. In a previous life, you may have survived a flood or perished during one. Perhaps it was a deluge caused by a tsunami, earthquake, or environmental disaster. You may have drowned in a past life. I don't think that that's what, I think it was more towards a flood for Psy vibes. Oh, interesting. All right. So now the next one, let's do the trauma. That was your lesson, right? So let's do what the trauma was. What was the trauma? Particular life proponents. Hysteria, insanity is what comes up, and the trauma, poverty. So at the end, you might have lost it all. I wonder. Let's see. Where is it? Oh. So trauma, poverty. In a past life, you may have suffered due to low circumstances or being impoverished. That could have also been early on, and you gained like a certain level by some of your deeds, maybe as well, money-wise. But the card that came up was insanity, upside down to hysteria. So let's look at insanity really quick. You're probably going to want to watch this back later, Ponus. Okay. You may have suffered from a form of hysteria in a past life. Perhaps you thought you were sick when you weren't, or you experienced hysterical blindness or another somatic illness. All right. Boy. So far, this seems like a pretty colorful life. She does warn for people that have this deck that this is not always like cushy. It's not everything that that you necessarily want to hear. But I think that's like why we're in a karma system. So the last thing, what did you die from? Okay, that came out right away. And this part was up. Starvation or dehydration is what you died from. Ah, suicide or murder. Okay. See, that makes more sense to me. You might have literally been because we started off with this, right? That you were a human sacrifice in a type of religion that was sacrificial, and you were an old man, and starvation or dehydration, maybe you were left out or something like that, or you did it to yourself because it's under suicide. So you probably sacrificed yourself for the greater good in your religion, is what I'm thinking. But let's look what it says for suicide under murder. In a previous life, you may have committed suicide. Perhaps you took your life due to depression, to avoid persecution, to prevent being taken prisoner in a war, as a form of protest, such as with self-immolation, or for religious reasons. If you committed harikiri, you were likely sentenced to death, but were allowed to take your own life to die with honor. Very interesting. So I would suggest getting that particular worksheet, and maybe, with your tarot, work through some of the other stuff, some of the deeper questions on this particular life. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into one of your lives. All right. So the next person, I'm going to draw the cards. But I can't. Oh, okay. I rich dabbled in all kinds of opiates and poisons. Oh, the rich dabbled in. Yes, 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 yes. All right. All right. So I'm going to shuffle. Pick a number between 1 and 10. And the person who gets it first is the person who, I know. There's a lot of information. But that's why I said that worksheet will also help you to kind of work through it as well, because each one of the categories has like 3 deeper questions that you can ask. So pick a number between 1 and 10, and the person who gets it right first gets the next reading. Okay. And I've got it here. So keep on typing in the numbers. Keep them coming. I will be doing more of these too, so. Keep them coming. And Amy, Sage Advice Tarot, you got it, sweetie. It was 10 again. 10 of Cups. And did you get your email? Because I did send you your email, Amy, for your readings for this month, okay? You should have them, access to them on my channel. All right. So the first one that we're going to do is identity. Uh-oh. Do I sound like a robot? 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 Do I sound like a robot, guys? Ugh, so friggin' typical. Let me mute myself for a second and see. Is that any better? Does that sound any better, guys? All right. All right. So your identity is under other, under peacemaker, under the peacemaker card, and you were a father in this life. So other and peacemaker, let's see what that means. In a previous life, you may have been a peacekeeper of another kind. Possibly you did missionary work, social work, or were part of a military peacekeeping expeditions. Or you may have done volunteer work. Anonymous voice with a robot. You are a bot. Oh, that is so typical. I don't know how to correct it, guys. Yeah, I don't know how to correct it. Or you may have done volunteer work or helped to provide food, money, aid, or assistance to people who were in need. What did Maria say? The uprising has begun. All right. And yeah, and you were a father. Okay. You were a father figure or a father. Where did it go? Father. Okay. The next one we're going to do location. Try not to speak too fast. Okay. All right. So we'll do location or time frame. We'll do time frame. All right. What is the time frame? Oh, wow. I just flew out. Health issues and contagious illness came up in the time frame. Ooh, Viking age, right there. Ooh. Contagious illness. In a past life, you may have died or suffered emotional or other trauma due to contacting an infectious disease. If you needed to be quarantined, for example, with leprosy, might have made your experience even more difficult, especially if you suffered from discrimination. Okay. So I'm thinking it could have been the Viking age during like a time of like some sort of outbreak. So let's look at the Viking age and see what it says, time frame. All right. The Viking age occurred between approximately 793 and 1066. During this period, Scandinavians started to migrate and settle in Ireland, Britain, Wales, Norway, Sweden, and the Netherlands, Scotland, Russia, Iceland, and Greenland. During this time, Christians attempted to Christianize Europe, and Christianity replaced the Norse pagan religion. Yes, please send me some clearing energy. I got this little bell. Okay. Interesting. So the next one we will do location, because it could have been any of those. Whoops. You know. Okay. Location was North America. Oh. Oh. Dual 1942, North America, the Vikings did. Maniacal laugh. All right, so what did we say here? So duelist and athlete, under the athlete, which kind of makes sense if you were a Viking. In a past life, you may have participated in jousting, fencing, matches, or other types of duels. You may have partaken in these sports to highlight your courage and skill. In Europe in the Middle Ages, members of the upper class, knights, and even nobility would often undergo training to learn how to become skilled in dueling or other sports. Mastering such a sport could sometimes help a person rise in social rank or popularity. Interesting. So maybe like a gladiator or something. All right, so the next one is faith. We'll see what your faith was. All right, let's see what the faith was. Okay, and there we go. Okay, this is what is up. So judge in the law, we'll see how that plays in, but the faith was philosophical. Maybe you were in between because it was during the Viking Age when you were being, do you want me to come in and hold your place? No video, so. Yeah, if you want to come in really quick, honey, and then I can get out and get back in. So video bombing, this is how this works, guys, video bombing. So you might have been in between, is what I'm thinking. Let's see. Like moving from pagan into Christianity. Your faith may have been more philosophical in nature, or you may have been a follower of a particular philosophy, such as Plato, Pythagoras, Aristotle, Confucius, Karl Marx. Oh, you don't want to come in? Okay. And Voltaire, Lousy, etc. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out really quick and come right back in because she's in here. All right. Okay. Is that any better, guys? Yeah. Do. I've joked with my friends that my ancestors' DNA is why I haven't gotten COVID. I've been exposed several times. I do think that that is real. I really, really do, Amy. I definitely do. It's fixed. Maria, you are friggin' excellent. I love you, honey. All right. So I think that with it being philosophical, it was kind of in between. Maybe that you were you weren't sure whether or not you were going to stay like Viking or pagan or what have you, or move to Christianity. Or you were just exploring. All right. So the next one that we're going to do is love. There's not a list, honey. No. If you want to donate, you can, it'll put you next. If not, then after this one is over, I will be shuffling and drawing a card, and you just pick between 1 and 10, okay? All right. The next one, what did I say? Love. What was the love that Amy had in that life? What was the love that Amy had in that life? The love was polyamorous or polygamous. And you were a gypsy psychic. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Weren't you a seer in the last one? In the last one that we did, Amy? Weren't you some sort of seer? Gypsy. Let's see what it said. Oh, we were looking for love, weren't we? That's what we were. Yeah. Okay. You may have been in a polygamous relationship or have been had more than one husband or wife. Yeah, I think this pretty much just means in that you were not necessarily just with one person, especially with Vikings raiding, stuff like that. You know, stuff happened. So, and let's also look under though, gypsy under psychic. If I can find it here. There we go, gypsy. You may have worked as a fortune teller, palm reader, tarot card reader, or diviner in a past life. You likely worked one-on-one with others using your intuitive ability to help them with their love lives or other personal matters. You were probably paid for your services, allowing you the means to support yourself. See, I think that you were probably in a poly relationship. However, I think that your true love was divining for people. I think that's what your true love was. Yes, I thought you were in the other past life as well. Yes. I don't think true love always has to be another person. I think your true love or true passion can be whatever your dream is. So, all right. So the next one would be the lesson that you learned in that life. What was the lesson? Okay. Gluttony was your lesson, but it was sexual assault. Didn't this also come up in your last one, Amy? I'm almost feeling like this is because weren't you also, didn't we say like Viking the last time or something like that? I don't remember for sure. All right. The lesson. Gosh, I'm almost, yeah. Where is it? Oh, no. What am I looking for? I'm looking for, where is it? Your lesson may have involved letting go of overindulgence. For instance, you might have had issues with overeating, drinking too much, or addiction. No, there's no list, honey. Okay. So, and sexual assault, and you were a witness to a sexual assault, and you were a seer. I remember that, if I remember right, from the last time. This might be the same one we're picking up. That is interesting. That is really friggin' interesting. Okay. Let's look at the trauma then. The trauma was performer, dancer. The trauma was witness or bystander. See? And the last one said witness to sexual assault. So the trauma was a witness or bystander. You may have experienced trauma due to something that you were a bystander or witness to. What you witnessed may have been an execution, abuse, violence, or injury to a loved one, physical, psychological, or other. Yeah, with the rating, see, that's what I think. Because, I mean, when they would conquer the Vikings, they would many times, sexually assault. This is definitely not a video for children underage. So, all right, and let's find out what you died from. Okay, there it is. Peasant and rural living. Okay. Death was torture. Torture to death. But peasant under rural living. Okay. There we go. Peasant. You may have lived in the country as a peasant in a previous incarnation. Your life may have been simpler and less sophisticated than that of a city dweller, which obviously, I mean, that is the case. Exactly. I think that this is the same life that we're talking about here, which just goes to show that these do friggin' work, because it's picking up on almost everything is exactly the same as your last one was. I know. I'm telling you, this is interesting. But I think the reason why you maybe got this one again is because maybe did you do the follow-up stuff to this one? To this particular life, the worksheet? I'm thinking if you haven't, maybe you need to dig deeper into this particular life, because there's maybe something unresolved in it that's affecting you in this life. So, wowza. Oh, and torture. Let's see what it says for torture. Death. I'm just guessing that you were tortured to death. It's as simple as that. You may have died during torture. If not this, perhaps you were executed in a horrific way, such as through being drawn and quartered or boiled alive. Ugh. I think there is a bigger meaning. Exactly. I do too. I definitely do. All right. So I'm going to shuffle. Pick a number between 1 and 10. The next one to get the correct number first gets the next drawing. And if you don't, I always suggest having a pen and paper so that you can write these things down. But if you don't, then just watch this back. I will try to go back when I watch through it, maybe tomorrow, and try to timestamp it for people, like the first reading, second reading, whatever, okay? So that you guys can go right to your readings. All right. Give me a card. Give me a card. Give me a card. Okay. Okay. All right. I think the first one is Lady Knight. 9. Way to go, Maria. Oh, and you know what? This is the perfect time to do past life work too. Maria, she's been doing some more too, because we're in Mercury retrograde. So it's about like communication and past life stuff. Or, there we go. You're welcome, sweetheart. All right. So you know the drill, Maria. We've done this already a couple of times. All right. So the first one is going to be your identity. Okay. Let me do this really quick. I know this is wimpy, but it's the only one I got over here. Okay. Oh, here we go. Identity. Oh. direct descendant, royalty. Yeah, Mercury Gatorade. Friend. You were considered a friend, but of direct descendant royalty. We'll see. Because I tend to think, because this is the side that came up, that you were actually a direct descendant of royalty. But let's see what the friend one says first. That could mean you were just friendly. Let's see. With a past life event or situation you are reading, you may have played the role of a friend to someone important, okay, or it defined how you saw yourself, right, or friendly. If reading a current relationship, you were the other party's friend in a past life. Okay, see, I think that you were a friendly person, but you were royalty. You were a direct descendant of royalty in this particular life. Yeah, it's perfect. Size doesn't matter for sound. Exactly. All right, so the next one we're going to do is time frame. Yeah, she wants her tiara. All right, time frame. All right. Oh, and this popped right up. Age of Enlightenment time frame. And you were nonconformist rebel. All right. So maybe you were shaking things up in that royalty. All right. So the time frame was Age of Enlightenment, which is the Age of Enlightenment occurred between approximately 1700 and 1800s. This era is characterized by developments in science, mathematics, physics, sociology, medicine, anatomy, natural history, and philosophy. There was also the spreading of ideas, including revolutionary ones, through printed pamphlets, books, and academia. During this age, people began questioning and moving away from authoritarianism, if I can say that right, absolute monarchies, and the dogmatism of the Catholic Church. As people strove for increased rationalism, religious tolerance, personal freedom, and the separation of church and state, revolutions occurred, such as the French Revolution in 1789. Notable individuals of this period include Isaac Newton, John Locke, Immanuel Kant, Rousseau, Voltaire, Descartes, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Catherine the Great, Frederick the Great. In the Americas, the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution were written. Okay. Interesting. And you were getting that French feeling earlier. So we'll see where that goes. Interesting. All right. So now we're going to do location. Okay. It says lower class and poverty on that side, but location. Arctic or Antarctic? That's interesting. I wonder if you were like stationed. I wonder if you were stationed there. Like, that's interesting. Okay. Location. You may have lived in a location now known as part of the Arctic or Antarctic, Or you may have lived in approximate area under the ocean or ice. Wonder if you were stationed or something. I know, isn't that weird? That doesn't even kind of even like fit in with that. Unless you were stationed. Like, we'll see. All right, the next one is, let's see what your faith is. They did trips to places. Yeah. If you were like military or something like that. You got other, an athlete. Oops. But I'm seeing military here. Oops. And magic-based faith. A magic-based faith. All right, so let's look at that one first. You may have been interested in working with spiritual laws or forces, dark or light. As such, you may have practiced sorcery, witchcraft, or voodoo, or experimented with spells, curses, hexes, or other forms of spiritual manipulation. And it was during other, under athlete. Come on. In a past life, you may have practiced or trained in another kind of sport. Some examples include equestrian sports, chariot racing, archery, target shooting, hammer throwing, gymnastics, or sports aimed at increasing military and fighting skills. If you had a past life from a more recent time frame, you may have played baseball, football, or soccer, or excelled with sports like swimming, running, and skating. Okay. This is really making me think that you were in the military, or a different kind of military, but you were a direct descendant of a certain bloodline, is what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's do love for you next. What was the love? Okay. Oh. Abandonment. And industry and international merchant came up. Interesting. All right, so industry. In a past life, you may have been an importer, exporter, transporter, shipper, or otherwise engaged in the international trade industry. Or you may have crafted a product that was sold internationally. But what do we say? Abandonment for love, which would make sense if you're like out and about, right? You may have loved someone who abandoned you. If not this, it's possible they disappeared in a way that left you lacking closure. Hi, Jenny. All right, so, and hi, Denise and Jezebel, I'm sorry, and Dice Controller. Oh my goodness. All right, sweetheart. I will get you a reading next, okay? And thank you. All right, so the next one we are going to do is lesson in that life, okay? Now, Jezebel, honey, in the Amethyst Ascension group, we also have a form that you can, once you get your reading, you can do further exploration also. It's like two different forms in a worksheet thing where there's like 3 questions for each one of these categories where you can even dig a little bit deeper, okay? All right, here we go. Interesting. What was this one? This was lesson. Ritual sacrifice and headhunter is what came up, and the lesson was overcoming fear. Okay, so obviously overcoming fear, we know that, but I'm interested in this headhunter. Come on. Oh, it's under ritual sacrifice. That's why. I'm sorry, guys. All right, headhunter. In a past life, you may have lived in a culture that practiced headhunting. If not this, perhaps you were decapitated or had your head mounted on a spike. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that, sweetheart. All right. Yeah, definitely military, right? Thank you, Tangi. Have a good one, sweetheart. All right. So the trauma in that lifetime. What was the trauma in Maria's lifetime? What's the trauma in Maria's lifetime? That was the lesson, right? Yeah. What was the trauma? Okay. Achiever and accomplishment is what was up. The trauma was psychic wounding. Interesting. And you were a magical practitioner. Oh my goodness. Interesting. Psychic wounding. You may have suffered trauma in a past life due to some form of psychic injury. Perhaps you are an empath who felt others' pain too deeply, or you may have felt afflicted by or frightened of voodoo, curses, negative entities, spiritual possession, or witch phobia. Wowza. I do a lot of past life work, so I'm really interested in seeing what the cards say. Oh, yes. Wowza. And this was under achiever in accomplishments. Oh, in accomplishments, right. In a past life, you enjoyed a measure of success, either in general or with a particular endeavor. Okay. So maybe you got some enemies. Somebody attacked you. Or something that you did magically came back and bit you in the bottom, if you know what I mean. And then the last thing, what did you die from? No, it's not too late. But, yeah, head on a stick. Oh. You died from Air Force and military is what came up. Air Force under the military. And you died from starvation or dehydration. Interesting. What's interesting is that Air Force and military. It's almost like some sort of like psychic warfare. especially there. All right. In a past life, you may have been part of your country's Air Force. If not, you may have worked as an astronaut or in the aerospace industry. If this wasn't during or after the World War era, this card category might point to an extraterrestrial lifetime. I was just gonna friggin' say that. This has to do with extraterrestrials and Antarctica. I have talked about this. They have discovered stuff in Antarctica, like spaceships and stuff, or one huge spaceship. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. Maria. Yeah, those are some wild cards. I will be putting timestamps in after this uploads for you guys, okay? All right. Jezebel, you're next, sweetheart. So the first one that we're going to do, and let me clear this energy. This is the Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle. It is friggin' phenomenal. All right. There is like 8 categories. You see that? But you get the extra level of having all of the stuff that's on the backs as well. And there's 4 different, like different meanings for each one of those. I mean, this is just a phenomenal deck. Well, I already have somebody. If you purchase, if you do a donation, then you skip the line. But the next person is Jezebel because she donated. And then if we have time, which I'm going to stay on here for a bit, so that way more people get a chance. All right. So identity. I just want to hear this. Someone was Marilyn Monroe. All right. Oh. All right. So I got for you animism, nature worship, and your identity was a grandchild. You were a grandchild. So animism. So we know you were a grandchild. Let's look at nature. In a past life, you may have believed that animals and objects possessed individual spirits. Perhaps you practice shamanism or totemism, in which animals or plants can serve as messengers or spirit guides. All right, so that's your first one. You were a grandchild. So the next thing we're going to look at, yes. I'm sure there's going to be more as we go. That's going to talk about why it comes up grandchild. All right, so next we're going to do time frame. What time frame is this? Oh, and that came flying out. Okay. Imprisonment was up under imprisonment card. And Viking Age. All right. So Viking Age. The Viking Age occurred between approximately 793 and 1066. During this period, Scandinavians started to migrate and settle in Ireland, Britain, Wales, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, Scotland, Russia, Ireland, and Greenland. During this time, Christians attempted to Christianize Europe, and Christianity replaced the Norse pagan religion, which would also show you think you know this life. Okay. All right. Which would also show, oh, and you were imprisoned. So I'm wondering if you were maybe captured from that time period by either side, actually. But you were a grandchild. So maybe you were a grandchild of like somebody, higher up, like a king or an earl, or if you were on the Christian side of somebody that's higher up in society. But I'm thinking that it was more you were a grandchild of somebody higher up in the Viking because you were an animal based, natural based religion. So, all right. So the next thing we're going to do is location. All right. What was the location? Okay. Yeah. Okay. What came up was wise person, wisdom keeper, and the location was a lost civilization. Yeah. So what that means is sometimes that can just be something that is no longer, let's see. You may have lived in a location underground or deep in a cave, such as Kuyu, Nayors, Shambhala, if it exists, or the hollow earth, if it exists. Oh, that's underground. I'm sorry, wrong one. They say lost. You may have lived in a location on earth that has become lost to humanity due to our lack of knowledge of it. Okay. And you were a wise person and a wisdom keeper under the wisdom keeper. Yeah. In a past life, you may have played the role of the village elder, shaman, or wise person. Yep, medicine woman. There you go. People in our community may have held, or people in your community may have held you in a high esteem due to how knowledgeable and wise you were. Okay. I love this deck. So the next one is going to be faith. Let's see what it says for faith. Although we kind of already, I think we know that. But this might give us a little bit more. Oops. No. Like 10 cards came out. Okay. It was up this way. Abuse of power under the power card, and your faith was sacrificial. So let's see what it says. It's probably just pretty basic. You may have been part of religion that practiced human sacrifice. If not human sacrifice, you may have practiced animal sacrifice to appease or make an offering to a deity or gods. At times, this category can indicate being part of a group or faith that practiced headhunting or cannibalism. And abuse of power and power on the power card came up. So let's see what that has to say. In a past life, you might have abused power or authority in some manner. If not, you may have encouraged financial or other forms of dependency, never giving anything without strings attached. This way, others would feel obliged to you. Yeah. Willing to do whatever you asked. Yeah. And I can see that if people did come to you, for advice, if you were a medicine woman, there had to be an exchange. So that makes perfect sense. Maybe you became a little bit pricey. Or in what you asked them became a little bit pricey. Okay, there you go then. Still is. All right. So what was that under? That was under faith. Okay, so we'll look at the love now. What was the love in Jezebel's? Okay. This is what was up. Hunter and peasant. You were between a hunter and a peasant. Okay. You were between a hunter and a peasant, which makes sense if you were like Viking time, rural living off the land kind of thing. And your love was companionship. Companionship. So let's see what that says. You enjoyed companionship or marriage with someone with whom your relationship was more platonic than romantic. At times, this can indicate a friend with benefits arrangement. If I asked for a life, it might have been too expensive. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. All right. So, and this, you were between, right in the center, between, like I said, hunter, and peasant, which just means that you kind of lived off the land. That was the way, the Viking way. So that makes kind of sense to me. All right. Is that the lesson? No, that was the love. Next, we're going to do the lesson. What was the lesson in that life? Okay, this is the way up, which is warrior under war. And the lesson was walking the middle path. All right, let's see what that says then. Lesson, walking the middle path. Your lesson may have involved finding balance in your life and a middle path between extremes, such as between self-indulgence and self-denial, give and take, yin and yang, or burnt out and rest. Or maybe you needed to learn to let go of all or nothing or black and white thinking. Yeah. And warrior under war. You might have been a warrior in a past life. If so, you acted as a defender of your king or country. Through being a warrior, you showed bravery and strength. However, you likely witnessed much death and violence. I mean, I think pretty much everybody was a warrior during that time. The men, the women, and the children. All right, so the next one would be your trauma that you went through. Whatever animal, but mostly rabbit or chicken, depends on what's available. Oh, all right. So what was the trauma? Okay. Oh, earth disaster and earthquake came up. And the trauma was physical limitations. Interesting. All right, so let's see what it says under physical limitations. Perhaps you were disabled or you got hurt, maybe. Let's see. In a past life, you may have suffered trauma due to a physical limitation, handicap, or illness. Okay. And earthquake under earth disaster. In a past life, you may have suffered physical injury, death, or emotional trauma due to an earthquake or landslide. So you probably got hurt during that earthquake, and that was the trauma. It limited you after that point, or a landslide or something like that. Interesting. My goodness. All right, and we're on the last one, death. How did Jessica? Oh. I got explosion under the fire disaster, and the death was suicide. Maybe you went out in a blaze of glory, literally. And you may have taken your own life. If you didn't commit suicide due to depression, it might have been to escape persecution, to martyr yourself, or for spiritual reasons. Is my voice going in and out, you guys? And drowned because I hurt my back and couldn't move. Chose to drown, but makes sense. Oh. You can hear me okay? All right. Wowza. So the explosion, something could have happened that knocked you over then, maybe. And then you fell, and then you decided just to stay gone. Is that what you're saying? You chose not to fight it, more or less? Wow. That was really good. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shuffle the cards again. Everyone choose a number between 1 and 10, and you will get the next reading. And I hope that helped, Jezebel. Sounds like you already knew all that, and it was just kind of confirming it for you. All right. And thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. All right. Number between 1 and 10, guys. 1 and 10. I'll probably go for about another 30 minutes or so we can get a couple more in here, okay? It's all you, Amber. Very nice. All right. So we're going to start with your identity, honey, okay? All right, let's clear that energy. All right. Come on. Oh, boy, that just flew out. You were, oops, and it was like that. Okay. So you were a messenger, communications messenger is how it came up. And you were an older woman. So you lived to be older. And so you were a messenger. All right, let's see. Under communications. So, yes, it is 10. 3 tens today. Let's see. In a past life, you may have helped facilitate conversations between individuals or even countries. Perhaps you delivered messages by horseback or were a translator, or you might have worked in the telephone or telegraph industry or another area of communication or communications. So very nice. All right. Older woman. So now we're going to do the time frame. Okay. So what was the time frame? Oh, and here we go. Okay, it was up like this. So Franciscan mysticism under nature worship, Franciscan mysticism, and the time frame was pre-Columbian Americas. Interesting. The pre-Columbian era is the period before Columbus settled America. It occurred between approximately 10,000 BC and AD 1492. This period covers the history of the indigenous cultures that existed before the Americas were given this name. Notable cultures that existed during this time include the Olmec, Teotihuacan, I'm sure I said that wrong, my apologies, Mayan, Zapotec, Mixtec, Haustec, Purapeca, Toltec, and Aztec. This age also witnessed growth of the knowledge of astronomy, math, pyramid building, medicine, and the creation of calendars. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and you're a Gemini. All right. Wowza. Oh, and let's read about, what was it? Franciscan mysticism. Interesting. Under nature. Nature. You may have been a Franciscan friar or nun in a past life. As such, you may have believed in treating the creation of God as sacred. This principle extended to showing kindness and reverence towards nature and animals, wild and domestic, as these presented part of creation or represented part of creation. Okay. So you were a naturalist, right? All right. So the next thing we're going to do is the location. Okay, we've got famine and poverty. And the location, oh, what the hell? Arctic or Antarctic? I don't even know how that's possible. All right. Interesting. Well, I mean, technically 10,000 BC to 1492 was the time frame. So, wow. Okay. And famine. So during a time of famine or something on the earth or in your area. All right. And we'll do faith next. So what was the faith? Okay. Okay, this way was up. Philosopher, under, intellectual. And you were a messenger. And it was Franciscan mystical, right? Your faith was mystical. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you were, wow, that kind of falls in line, really. with the kind of the past life that we did for you. Whatever spiritual path or religion that you followed, you sought to connect with the divine in such a way that it could lead to mystical experiences, higher awareness, or spiritual ecstasies. You may have been very contemplative, reflective, and focused on uncovering hidden truths. So you were definitely a mystic and philosopher and intellectual. Yeah. I mean, that is so you, honey. And especially, like you said, Gemini, right? Yeah, the thinkers, right? I think is the terms for that. All right. So the next one is love. Love in that life. Love in that life. Have a good night, Maria. Thank you for coming, sweetheart. Oh, that's the love right there. Oh, okay. This was the way up. Oh, you were orphaned also. Childhood trauma. You were orphaned, and your love was unrequited. Unrequited love, and you were orphaned. You were in an unrequited love relationship with someone. While you may have felt passion for this person, they may not have felt the same. Perhaps you loved someone who married you for money to improve their social status, or it was an arranged marriage. If you weren't married, you may have loved someone who couldn't return your love or offer a commitment. Or that could be indicating that you never really truly got over the fact that you were abandoned, right? Or you were orphaned. Yeah, under childhood trauma. In a past life, you may have lost your parents due to an accident or other misfortune. Due to this, you may have been placed in an orphanage or with relatives. Yeah. That unrequited love came up in the last past life you did for me too. It did. Wow. Unbelievable. All right. So the next one is lesson in that life. Lesson. Oh, that one just flew right out. Okay. Overcoming loss. Oh my gosh, that's so obvious, right? With being orphaned and okay, overcoming loss was your lesson, but this is the way that it was up. So Christian ascetic under ascetic. What is ascetic? Let's see. Ascetic is, since the early years of Christianity, there have been Christians who choose to be ascetics. Some took a solitary path, seeking to find God in the desert the way that Jesus did. Others lived together in monasteries where they could practice. Oh my gosh, yes. Do you see this? Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I need to turn on the light so I can see it better. Didn't one of yours, Franciscan, right? Yeah, which was like monk or nun. And you unrequited and you were orphaned, so you took the vow of celibacy. All right, let's see. Others lived together in monasteries where they could practice asceticism without being isolated. In the Middle Ages, many mendicant orders arose that practiced monastic living or took vows of poverty, such as the Augustinians, the Carmelites, the Dominicans, and Franciscans. Oh my gosh. Other orders that took vows of poverty and chastity included the Knights Templars or Knights Hospitallers. Alternately, you might have been Amish, Mennonite, or part of another Christian-based faith that practiced poverty or the renouncement of society or the material world. Everything is tying together. I mean, my gosh, you can't make this shit up. Okay. So that was your love. Okay, so let's see what the or was that the lesson? No, oh no. Overcoming loss. Right. Okay, that was the overcoming loss. That was the lesson. Okay, so the next one is your trauma then. Oh, and there it is. Other. Okay, this is the way that it was up. And it's on other under secret society. And the trauma. Oh. Abandonment. Oh my gosh. What the hell ever. Okay, let's see what it says under secret society, under other. Wow. Oh my goodness gracious. In a past life, you may have been part of another type of secret society, such as the Skull and Bones. Perhaps the community that you were part of rose out of a university or fraternity. Yeah. You were part of some sort of religious secret society that you had taken a vow of celibacy and a vow of poverty. Wow. Wow. Okay. And that was your trauma. Your trauma was abandonment. Okay, we pretty much know what that is. And then the last one. Sorry, my husband is. Okay. And the last one is what you died from. Okay. Oops, this is the one that came out. Injustice overturned. Injustice is what came up. Like that. And your death was murder. You were murdered. Yeah. Which I probably don't have to really go further. You may have been murdered by someone that you knew, either in a premeditated way or in the heat of passion. Wow. Injustice overturned and under justice. Injustice. In a past life, you managed to overturn an injustice or were able to receive an apology or clear your name if you were slandered. I'm wondering if that isn't like Knights Templar or something. Unbelievable. I mean, even look at this card. Huh. That was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Don't forget, honey, there is that paper that's in the group, okay? The 2 papers where you can do further exploration. All right. And I think I have time for one more, okay? So just one more. And then, but let me answer my hubby really quick. Shit. Sorry, guys. So go ahead and start with the numbers if anyone still wants one. Just a few minutes behind. I got it in the office right now. Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So is there anyone else that would still like to? Okay. Yeah. Give me the numbers. 1 through 10. The first one to get the correct one gets the next reading, and I have time for, and it's just 1 through 10. Okay, numbers 1 through 10. I've got time for just one more. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Aquarius Owl. And Tarot Sachet. All right. One more. Come on, give me it. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see if anyone got this. Yep, Jenny Pittman, you got it, sweetie, with 3. So Jenny's going to be the last one for tonight, guys, okay? And thank you so much, everybody who came. I appreciate it. This is fun. I love this. I love this deck so much. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is your identity. Okay, Jenny? All right, and there it is. Okay. Under healer, it says you were a faith healer, and the identity on the other side is child. So I'm thinking either you were the child of a faith healer, or, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is you were the child of a faith healer. So, all right. The next thing we're going to do is go with, well, let's see what it says for a faith healer really quick. Under healer. In a past life, you may have been a spiritual healer who used energy work, prayer, or faith healing to help people heal their physical or emotional issues. Have you been doing any of these lives with this, Jonathan? It is an awesome deck. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is time frame, okay? Time frame. Oh, and there we go. So we got perpetrator of injustice is what we got. And time frame was high Middle Ages. High Middle Ages. So let's see what it says really quick for that. The High Middle Ages occurred between about 1000 and 1300. During this time, society became more socially, politically, and religiously organized. This age witnessed the age of Viking raids and the Christianization of Scandinavian kingdoms. The Carolingian Empire became divided into France and Germany. This period also saw the rise or increased popularity of chivalry, scholasticism through universities, monastic military orders such as the Templars, the Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights, and mendicant orders such as the Franciscan, Dominicans, Carmelites, and Augustinians. Other notable events include the Crusades against the Muslims, corruption of the Catholic Church, rise of the heretical movements, subjugation of various religious groups such as the Cathars and the Waldensians, and the end of the Templars and their persecution. So a lot going on. Nothing live, but added on a layer to my tarot. Oh, that's wonderful. Right around that time, priests may have been setting up hospitals. Yes. I just found out about the deck and need to investigate more. It is an awesome deck. All right. And said you were a perpetrator of injustice. I'm guessing that you were the recipient though, actually, because you were a child, right? So perpetrator under injustice. Let's see what it says. I'm just thinking you did not live to be old in that age. I'm thinking that you only, or that, or you were very childlike. That could be as well. In a previous life, some questionable action you took may have unjustly upset a person's life or their sense of security or reputation. So if you were a child, maybe you had also maybe said something about another individual that had got them either persecuted or something along that lines, or maybe have your hand in it, because I mean, who knows how old they're talking about with child. Well, let's see what it says for child, because they might be talking all the way up to teenage. With a past life event or situation you are reading, you may have played the role of a child in an important way, or it defined how you saw yourself. If reading a current relationship, you were the other party's child in a past life. Okay, so you could have either had like a childish, or a snitch, or a childish demeanor, or you could have thought of yourself as a child. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at is location. So what was the location of this lifetime? All right. Volcano came up under fire disaster, and the location was Southern Europe. So Southern Europe, you may have lived, right? You may have lived in ancient Greece, Rome, or another area currently known as part of Southern Europe, such as current-day Greece, Italy, Cyprus, Spain, Portugal, or Turkey. Or you may have lived in a nearby area that is off coast or currently under the sea. Okay. And volcano. So there was a volcano. And when did we say that was? What was the time? Oh, 1,000. Okay. So between 1,000 and something, there was a volcano around Southern Europe. You lived during that time period in that area. Or it's just trying to show a certain place by like around a volcano area or an active area. So the next one would be faith. If anyone wants to get this deck, the deck and books are sold separately now. You can order both here. Thank you so much, Jonathan. They did employ or force boys as young as 7 or 8 to carry equipment, that type of thing. Oh my gosh. Actually, the way Templars were recruited at one point was that you had to serve so many years to be forgiven for a sin. Oh my goodness gracious. You could have been a child and maybe your father joined the Templars in order to be forgiven for a particular sin too. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm on my last one. Okay. What did we say? Faith, right? What was the faith in this life? All right. Okay, this is one. All right, so health issues came up with hypochondria, and the faith was pantheistic or animistic faith. So let's see what that says really quick. You may have been part of a spirituality that was pantheistic, believing that the divine is present throughout all of life, or animistic, that creatures, stones, trees, the sun, the moon, weather, or even objects possess their own spirit or entity. A few examples of such religions include forms of paganism, indigenous religions, and Wicca. Okay. And we said that hypochondria with health issues was the card. So in a past life, you might have suffered from hypochondria. Perhaps you worried too much about your health, or maybe you thought that you were physically ill when your symptoms were psychosomatic. Okay. All right. The next one is love. Love during that lifetime. Hi, Tamara. Love during that lifetime. Oh, and there it is. Okay. Ritual priest under ritual sacrifice. Interesting. And the love was promiscuous. Okay. Because of being a child, perhaps you were a child of a parent who was promiscuous. I mean, or you just, I'm sorry, sweetie, I'm doing the last one right now. Jenny's got the last one. Okay, I'm sorry. Under ritual sacrifice, ritual priest. Let's see what that one says. In a past life, you may have participated in ceremonies in which adults or children were sacrificed to appease a god. You may have even performed the sacrifice yourself. If it wasn't humans that you sacrificed, it might have been animals. I'll have to think on that one. I mean, could they have created, by being promiscuous, gone out and tried to create an army of like Templars, is what I'm thinking. And it was kind of like sacrificial, because it was like a system. I mean, if you were out fighting and stuff like that. I don't know. I have to think on that one. That one's really perplexing. All right. So the next one is lesson. The lesson. The lesson in that lifetime. Okay. Allied invader. World War. Yeah, see. That does. See, you got me thinking Templar now, April. Becoming more natural was the lesson. The lesson may have been to become more natural, simple in yourself, as opposed to what others expected, or perhaps you became disconnected from the natural world, needing to find your way back. I mean, I could see where that would create so much trauma, almost like being brainwashed. So of course you wouldn't have not have been natural. You would not have been yourself. It would have been like you just had like a mission that you had to do, and you were trained from a young age, is what I'm thinking. And that was your lesson, was to be able to be yourself instead of being part of this like this whole way of life. And the trauma. What was the trauma? And here it is. This is what was up. Yeah, between animism and pantheism under nature worship. But the trauma was a guilty conscience. So maybe it goes back to you threw somebody under the bus kind of thing. That you got somebody else in trouble. Because wasn't that one of them early on? That, yeah, you were a perpetrator of injustice. Oh. So maybe you turned in somebody that ended up losing their life. Didn't they still sacrifice lambs and such back then? Yeah, probably. Yes. And they got around back in the day. Yeah. An alternative to being burnt at the stake, because that's why they did practitioners back then. See, I'm thinking that you like threw somebody under the bus, like maybe for even your own sake, because your trauma was a guilty conscience. And it was between animism and pantheism, which we had just talked about earlier on. In what one was it? Yeah, your faith. Huh. Possibly. I love that you guys are all partaking in this with me. Thank you so much. See, this really gets your juices thinking, doesn't it? And going deeper with the other questions will really, really help with the worksheet. The last one is, how did you die? So how did you die in this lifetime? How did you die in this lifetime? Oh. Ice disaster and blizzard comes up. And you died of a broken heart. Huh. You were probably, okay. I think blizzard is like metaphorical. I think meaning that you became almost like broken in a sense. Like I was talking about, part of a system, and you felt really, really guilty because of what you had to do, what you were forced to do. And so that you died from a broken heart because of maybe what you had to do. Yeah. Like an iced over heart. What do you guys think? Wow. Yeah. These are not easy lifetimes. Not by any means. But I hope you will let us know if you actually do end up doing some deeper research, what you come up with. And April, oh my gosh, you are amazing. Thank you for all of your help with that. And you too, Tiro Stache. Excellent. So I am going to cut this short now. It's been 2 hours. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined me this evening. There's going to be more. I love doing these. They get me, I mean, I love, putting puzzle pieces together and stuff. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. How do you heal? What do you mean? Maybe another night in your unit or whatever did something and you turn them in. Everyone isolated her after she did what she was raised to do. Everyone turned a cold shoulder. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right too. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and there will be more of these. And remember, yes, actually, I think we're doing a reading on Friday. A few of us are going to be doing like regular tarot readings on Friday. Okay. So check back. We're going to be on my channel, Courtney Erie's Witchcraft, and Lady Knight of Avalon on all three of those channels. But we'll put it up. All right. It'll be, you guys will probably see it tomorrow. So yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.